What is the reality, and what does that have to do with Meghan Markle?
And he persuaded them, saying, I am the victim of a sexual assault, and I can tell you
Nobody expected that name. Not after all this time. Not after everything that had already come out. Politicians, billionaires, even royals. But when Ghislaine Maxwell finally broke her silence, when she leaned back on that thin, rusted cot inside her cell and started speaking again, she didn't drop the name of a world leader or an A-list Hollywood predator or another financier from Epstein's Black Book. No, she whispered something different, a name that wasn't supposed to be there, a name no one ever imagined hearing in this context. Meghan Markle. That single name sent a ripple through the dark web of whispers that surrounds Epstein's legacy.
And is guilty, when you're a defense attorney. But this one is a gift from above. She's got a very...
The press didn't pick it up at first. They couldn't. Because the moment those leaked documents started to circulate, something strange happened. Paragraphs vanished. Whole sections blacked out like someone had taken a permanent marker to history itself. 12 full hours of recorded conversation. Gone. Not corrupted, not damaged, just gone. At first, officials claimed it was standard redaction protocol, that privacy concerns had to be respected, but that didn't make sense. Epstein's gone. Maxwell's on the inside. Most of the victims have gone public. So who exactly were they protecting? Then someone looked closer. The redactions weren't random. They were surgical, strategic.
And a happier Harry, who I suspect still covets the half in and half out.
And right in the middle of the black ink, one name kept disappearing. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. And it wasn't just a casual mention. It was detailed, contextual, tied to rooms, gatherings, events, moments that weren't supposed to include someone like her.
Current Cold War status. Dunlop continues, the Prince of Wales would be full.
Because Meghan wasn't supposed to have been there at all. But what shocked investigators even more was what she was called. Because in those rooms, the kind of places where phones were banned and reputations were traded like currency, Meghan Markle wasn't Meghan, she was Flower. And that's where the trail begins.
About the memories of the Maxwell accusers. They were saying that
Flower. It wasn't a stage name. It wasn't playful. It wasn't even optional. In the most private corners of the elite social world, the corners scrubbed clean of cameras, headlines, and Instagram, names weren't given, they were assigned. Quietly, deliberately.
Public sympathy, but moods can change. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a threat to me.
And Flower wasn't just used once, it appeared again and again, repeated, recognized, the kind of name that didn't belong to a guest, but to someone with a role. According to Maxwell, this name wasn't a secret, it was protocol, used at events that didn't appear on calendars.
The negative headlines, it will be history that judges William, his more powerful older brother, only by
yachts that never docked near paparazzi. Dinners hosted by men whose net worths could erase entire governments. These weren't Hollywood after-parties, they were operations. Everyone arrived with a handler. Everyone left with secrets.
questionnaires one by one, and specifically assured defense counsel that had concerns don't.
Inside those rooms, anonymity wasn't a perk. It was the rule. Real names were liabilities. What mattered wasn't who you were on paper. It was who vouched for you, who brought you in, and what you were there to offer. And in that world, Flower had her own private profile. Not a casting resume, not a LinkedIn, a dossier. Hand-delivered to gatekeepers, not agents. A file that explained exactly who she was, how she moved, and why she was useful.
That his reign has the requisite hallmarks of modern monarchy, compassion and magnanimity.
And that's the part the palace never wanted to talk about. Because for someone who was supposedly new to wealth, new to fame, new to influence, Meghan moved through those rooms far too smoothly. She blended in with billionaires. She followed etiquette no outsider should know. She studied hierarchy like someone who had watched it, not from the outside, but from the inside. And back then, that invisibility made her powerful.
William would do it either, because how can you forgive somebody that hasn't asked for it? So now
she wasn't famous. She wasn't watched. She could move quietly, unnoticed, while the rest of the room performed. And that made her the most dangerous kind of person in those circles, the observer. But she wasn't there alone. Someone brought her in. And that someone was Ghislaine Maxwell. It wasn't speculation, it wasn't rumor. It came directly from her lips. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't just know Meghan, she said it plainly. She placed her there. Not accidentally, not through some vague 6 degrees of connection, but deliberately, strategically. And suddenly, everything changes. Because when Meghan reappeared years later in royal circles, holding hands with Prince Harry under the flashbulbs of the world's cameras, not everyone reacted with surprise. Some, like the inner circle around Prince Andrew, barely flinched. They'd seen her before. They remembered Flower. This wasn't her first time entering a royal-adjacent room. It was just the first time the world noticed. But if Maxwell brought her in, what was the reason? What was the purpose? Because nothing in that ecosystem was random. Andrew's circles weren't built around casual invites or friendly connections. These were engineered rooms, gatherings shaped by billionaire hosts, power brokers, social engineers who curated every attendee like pieces on a chessboard.
I want to put it kindly and nicely, has been around the block so many times. She is already there.
You didn't get in because you were famous. You got in because you were useful. According to Maxwell, Meghan fit the mold perfectly. Not flashy, not loud, but present.
Forget that Virginia Roberts called her as a witness because she had it.
Observing without drawing attention. She didn't try to be the star of the room. She tried to understand how the room worked. And that kind of access changes everything. Because those were rooms with no second chances. If you were there, you had a sponsor. And for Meghan, that sponsor was Ghislaine. And she wasn't the only one watching.
Way back for Meghan Markle, almost like Fergie, to come back. But Ghislaine revelations put Meghan in a very, very bad light. Because if it is all true, Meghan Markle is, and after that meeting in Istanbul at the opening of the Soho House, she suddenly decided to become, he did not want to have her anywhere near her. We all know that Meghan Markle, oh, I didn't know who Harry.
Someone else already deeply embedded in both royal society and the undercurrents that fed it had also crossed paths with Meghan long before the wedding, long before the fairy tale. Someone who immediately recognized the pattern the moment Meghan returned with a prince on her arm. Sarah Ferguson. Most people believe Meghan met Sarah Ferguson in the weeks before the wedding. That quaint little teach me how to curtsy story. It made headlines, it made people smile. But inside elite circles, no one bought it. Not for a second. Because Fergie didn't act surprised when Meghan showed up in royal orbit. She acted cautious. And for good reason. Fergie had been in those rooms too. Not the polished palaces.
She was fully aware. Not only did she know who Harry was, she said after him.
The private salons, the private jet fundraisers, the yacht events with untraceable guest lists. She had survived scandal, whisper campaigns, strategic exile. She knew how power moved, and more importantly, she knew how people got placed.
Time. We know that she couldn't get a job anywhere. And suddenly she's in the royal circles, just like...
There were even murmurs that she and Maxwell had once competed for influence over certain circles. Not personal rivalry, strategic. Two women maneuvering in the same billion-dollar orbit. So when Meghan reappeared, not as Flower, but as a duchess-to-be, Fergie knew. She knew which names had once hovered near Meghan's. She knew the code behind the smiles. And she knew what it meant if those memories ever became headlines. Because the royal family isn't just afraid of scandal, it's afraid of pattern recognition. And Sarah Ferguson recognized the pattern the moment she saw it.
We know that Meghan Markle, sure, she went after Harry, but she had help getting there.
But Maxwell's world wasn't the only place those connections bloomed. There was another layer, a cleaner one, easier to disguise. A place that looked like luxury but operated in shadows. That place was called Soho House.
For Meghan. But I don't think they're covering up for Meghan as much as they're protecting who put Meghan there.
At first glance, Soho House looks harmless. A members-only club for artists, celebrities, rising stars. But inside, it's different. It's where old money watches new money try to perform. It's where introductions happen behind closed doors and where secrets wear designer sunglasses. And the man behind it all? Ron Burkle. Burkle wasn't just rich. He was connected. Politicians, royal figures, media empires.
Sudden rise or being able to infiltrate the royal family so quickly, to infiltrate.
And in those rooms, two names quietly crossed paths again and again. Ghislaine Maxwell and Flower. And then came Istanbul. April 2015, the grand opening of Soho House, Istanbul. It's not just another party, it's a carefully engineered guest list. Elites, strategists, social architects, and there under the same roof, Meghan Markle,
Soho House, and Ron Burkle. Because it all started.
And Prince Harry. That night changed everything. This wasn't fate, this was placement. Some say Burkle arranged it. Others say a quiet network behind the scenes ensured Meghan was positioned. She didn't stumble into royalty, she was already moving through those circles. The yacht, the gatherings, the silence. It was all upstream of the royal engagement. And then came the transformation. Suddenly, Meghan becomes global. Suddenly, humanitarian. Suddenly, the woman no one could look away from.
Opening of Soho House. And we know because they were both there. The Soho House had
a clean, rebranded image that rose faster than any Hollywood career ever could. But no one climbs that fast without someone clearing the path behind them. No one. Most people think the blacked-out Maxwell files protect Meghan, that the press was muzzled to save her image, that the palace stepped in to keep her past buried. But that theory crumbles the moment you look at what was removed. Because those redactions weren't about protecting Meghan. They were about protecting them. The donors, the royals, the billionaires, the men whose names would explode if even one photo, one story, one connection was confirmed. Meghan isn't the threat, she's the liability, the observer, the one who remembers. She was never supposed to matter. Flower was just another face in a room full of secrets.
2015. Do I have any doubt that Rachel Meghan Markle was a call girl? Of course not. I don't have any.
Until she married a prince, and that made her unpredictable. That made her dangerous. Because now she carries something worth more than any scandal. Memory. And that's why the monarchy locked the doors. That's why Balmoral became the battlefield. Not between Harry and William, but between the past and the future. When Andrew tried to attend that one church service, William issued the ultimatum. Either Andrew attends or I do, but not both. Andrew stepped back. It wasn't about family.
The connections of the people that put her there. There's no, by the way, she was.
It was about contamination. William wasn't protecting the crown from Meghan. He was protecting it from what Meghan knows. Her proximity to Andrew's world. Her presence in the shadows of Maxwell's empire. Her ability, intentional or not, to expose the names the palace spent decades erasing. Soho House, Ron Burkle, the yacht. It all started long before tiaras, long before wedding bells. The night Meghan became Flower. A name whispered in rooms with no records. A girl invited onto a boat not to party, but to watch, to listen, to blend.
Ukraine and the Q&A in Ukraine with the university saying that she.
Because access to the wrong world at the wrong time changes everything. And that night, Ma, on that yacht, in those circles, with those people, set off a chain reaction that ended with Meghan walking into Buckingham Palace as a duchess. A past the palace pretends never happened. But now, it's leaking. The silence is cracking, sources are getting bolder, whispers are turning into testimony, and the redacted files, they're starting to unravel. The real question isn't whether Meghan's past will return. It's how much will escape the blackout, and who it will burn when it does. Because when storms reach this size, silence isn't protection. It's an admission. And this time, no blackout marker in the world can keep the truth hidden forever.